but I have not run echo link. I did not know that you were not connected at all today until just now. And you, of course, it came on and it identified yourself, but you've probably been listening for 10 minutes at that point, because it, you know, the link doesn't tell you what's happening until it gets a break, and we weren't giving it a break. So anyway, there you go. And Dennis popped in there a little while ago, and because I was calling Ken and I was calling Bob, because both of those guys can change over to 2 meters sideband, you know, very quickly, and I can't. I can do it, but I can't. I got to change radios, and I got to flip antennas from one. You know, I got to jump through a bunch of hoops to do that. I can do it, but I can't do it within 3 or 4 minutes. So I was calling them to see if anybody else was on frequency, and Dennis came back, and then Luke just popped in there. He was making a radio check, and he had no idea what frequency he was on. He was just you know, picked a frequency that he'd heard people talking on. He was trying to make a radio check, and I came back to him. I think I surprised him, but anyway, at least his radio's working. He knows he's got an old radio. It doesn't have any PL tone, not capable of any PL tones or anything like that. So I didn't write down what type of radio it was or what model it was or anything, but I know it's a 30-year-old radio. I heard him say that. So, but apparently it does sideband. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, Luke will be back, I'm sure. At least I hope he will. All right. So enough of my yammering. How about you, Dennis? Are you still there, and can you hear me at all?
This is the Yaesu FT-480R, Fox Tango 480 Romeo. This is a vintage mobile VHF radio, all mode. It can do lower sideband, upper sideband, CW and frequency modulation. This was, I think, one of the first mobile single sideband radios, and as such it was a expensive radio in the day. I remember that. This radio was not for everybody. It's built very well, all metal construction. The front bezel is die-cast aluminum, die-cast zinc alloy, and even up to today's standards, this is a very well built radio. Mobile bracket can be slid off. The output power is 30 watts, so it's you know, more than the 10 watts that was normal in those days. This is 30 watts radio. And it runs off 12 volts, 13.8 volts if you want. Let's go over the controls and show you a little bit what this radio can do. Let's start here on the left. We got volume, on, off, and volume. We got squelch. Squelch in this radio is extremely sensitive. It's a real noise squelch. It detects changes in the noise. Nowadays, squelches don't do that anymore. And as such, you can squelch the noise here without giving up any sensitivity. It works very well. We have 4 memories. I'll show you how that works in a minute. And we have 3 step sides. That's what this knob is for. For instance, we're on frequency modulation now. The smallest step size, I do that with the up-down buttons. Smallest step size is a kilohertz in frequency modulation. If I go to medium step size, it's 20 kilohertz. If I go to a large step size, this was 20 kilohertz, large is 100 kilohertz. If I do that same thing in sideband, that's where we are now, then the biggest step size is 1 kilohertz, medium step size is 100 hertz, and the smallest step size is 10 hertz, although you won't see that last digit on the display, it's not there, but you can see that 10 clicks. It gives an advance in the 100 hertz steps. So that's how you do that. If we go back to frequency modulation, I'll show you the memory function quickly. Memory works pretty straightforward. I have something programmed in memory 1 already. That's where we have it set now. And if I do memory recall, I get 147, which is in memory 1. Now I'm back on the dial. For instance, if I want to put this in memory 2, I just press M, and if I now recall, I have that in memory. I can show you that if I dial away from this, and I go to memory recall, I get what I just put in there. And we can do that for 3. We have this in 3, so nothing has been programmed there. And this is memory 4. So you basically have 4 memories that are easy to program and easy to recall. The mode switch, that's obviously clear. We have lower sideband, we have upper sideband, we have CW, we have frequency modulation with a minus 600 kilohertz shift. We got simplex and we got plus 600 kilohertz shift, and that's obviously for the repeater work. Clarifier, that only works on single sideband. For instance, if I have, I gotta go to the dial. If I have 100 Hz steps programmed, 100 Hz step size selected, if I press clarifier, I can turn the receiver away from the initial frequency, and when I transmit, I go back to 979 where we were. If I turn off the clarifier, I'm back to 979. So that works in only in single sideband where you obviously would need it. And the smallest step size you can make for the clarifier is 10 Hz, which is basically the synthesizer step size for the radio itself. Tone call, that is it just transmits the FM signal with a tone. That same button is also on the microphone. Memory we already discussed. Priority, the radio can do priority channel, priority scan I should say. For instance, if I want to go to memory 1, if I want to monitor that, I basically press memory recall and then priority, and the radio will now from time to time, I think every 10 seconds, you saw it go there, I will go to the briefly to the memory channel. If I transmit a signal there, let's use this radio here for that. If I transmit a signal, it will stop. 1, 2, 3. You see it will stop once a station is received there. And if I want to go away from that, I just go back to the main dial. That is priority scan. FSET, that basically clears the digits after the particular step size. So I now have a step size of, what is it? 100 kilohertz I think I said. So if I press that, it clears everything after the 100 kilohertz. That is basically a clear function. Memory recall we discussed. DIL, that's the dial. That's how you get away from the memory. Clarify we discussed. We have 2 VFOs. This is VFO B, this is VFO A, and I can do a split frequency with that. That's where you can use VFO B for. High and low power. High power, the radio is 30 watts. If I press the low power, it's about 30% of that. So that's about 10 watts. Is what that button does. Noise blanker, that's only used in single sideband obviously, but that gives you a noise blanker function. That's basically the controls we have on the front. Let's have a look what's underneath the radio, because there is more there. Alright, I turned it over for you. This is the bottom. Here we have satellite function that basically allows for upper sideband receive and lower sideband transmit and vice versa if you turn that on, because the amateur satellites give sideband reversal. This is the scan feature. You can scan for busy, you can scan for a clear channel or for manual. It's now in busy. And this is tone burst on and off. I have it off now. The radio does have a input for an PL tone encoder. The radio itself doesn't have that, but you can hook one up here. That was an option in those days. Here you see the back. We have here is the DC power input. That is a little bit different from radios today. This is actually a much more robust connector. But today they use those plastic Molex ones. This is the inevitable SO239 for the antenna hookup. We have a CW key input and a external speaker input. This is for memory backup on and off. Now don't get your hopes up, that doesn't mean there is a lithium battery in there. What that means is that if the radio is powered, let's say from your car battery, if you turn that toggle switch up, if you move it up, then the memory will be powered by the car battery. I guess the reason why you can turn it off is because there could be the risk of draining the car battery, and this way the radio would really not draw any current when you turn it off. So when you leave this on and you leave the radio connected to 13.8 volts, then it will maintain its memory. If it's memory, if not, it will lose the memories. Like I said, built very well. Here is the back of its serial number, an all enchilada. It is it's really robust compared to today's radios. The display is a fluorescent display. The nice thing about those is that they don't go bad. I mean, LCDs after a while turn black, as you might know. LEDs after a while start having missing segments. These fluorescent, it's basically a tube, it's a vacuum tube. These fluorescent displays last forever and ever. You will never have to replace those. Let's turn it on again and see what the radio can do in terms of performance. Okay, 144.3 for a single sideband test. We still got it in frequency modulation. We got Yaesu here, 817, also at 144.3. That will be our counter station, because on 2 meters you won't hear much on a single sideband without a good antenna. So let's see first what it does in FM. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That sounds pretty good. And here we have the receiver for the FT-480 Romeo. That works pretty good too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Output power is about 15 watts, I think it is. We're on dummy load right now. We're on the dummy load. And we're making about 15 watt. I would have to read the manual, but I think that's what it is. Let's try single sideband. We have it in upper sideband right now. And we got the Yaesu in upper sideband. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single sideband. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see 144.29992. That's 80 hertz away from the 80 hertz difference between the 490 and the 817. That's a pretty good result. Let's transmit with the Yaesu and see what happens with the 817. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Radio is good transceive too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Works really good. Let's go to lower sideband and see what we get then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit difficult. Right, had to use both hands there for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 144.2999. So we have 100 hertz difference. We have 100 hertz difference for lower sideband between the 490 and the 817. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
On 123
lower sideband. That's pretty accurate. We're back in FM. Let's see if we can open a repeater. 1468650.
Welcome all amateurs to the K-H-O-N-V repeater.
That seems to work. That seems to work. The Yaesu FT-480R, all mode, upper sideband, lower sideband, and FM. A vintage classic radio. This particular one is in mint condition, and it's good on frequency. Everything works as it should. Thank you for watching this video.